There was a very passionate clip of General G.D. Bakshi that was floating yesterday. I just want to play it because I honestly want more people to see it. I don't know if the causality that he's pointing to, how fair that is. You were able to tell me better. But I think he summarized the nation's emotion best yesterday. Actually, can you play that? Yes, this one. And he's a very... I've spoken to the gentleman...
Use your good offices to make a few appeals, right? During COVID, this army, for 3 years, there was no recruitment. Our forces were cut down by 180,000. Who did it? What about the threat assessment? You saved money. You saved money to get these people killed, damn you. I fought in Kishtwar. 3 years, Arnab. We had that area totally under control. Now that poor sector 9 sector RR, those boys are being asked to look after 2 sectors because somebody felt manpower is not needed. Damn you! It's needed if you want to fight in the mountains. It's needed if you want to fight the terrorists in hills and mountains and jungles. It is needed if you've got a Bangladesh pain in the neck now, in addition to China and Pakistan.
Open the lines.
Which genius chose to cut this army down? Which genius chose to cut the size of this army? For God's sake, smell the coffee. You've got wars coming, right? You might talk of Aman ki Asha. Shove it up where the sun don't shine. God damn you. You can't do this to us. You can't do this to our boys. Let them fight. Unloosen their damn hands. All right? Whatever you have to spend, get your Jaguars. Get your Jaguars out of the way. Get your Rafales. Get your 5th generation fighters. Get more of your A-tags, which you are making at home. Don't buy just 300. You need 1,300. Get ready to fight, boy.
Read the signal.
You've been talking of taking POK.
Sir, we have experts.
What do you think of that?
There is some truth to it that Agniveer, the scheme that has been done, it has been done with some intentions which are for the future of the army and for the fitness and the young profile of the army that was needed. All that it needed was to retain some of those people in larger numbers, which the government will look at it. They had already said that we will tweak it as we go along. Let the first recruits finish their 4 years and then we'll see. See, also this country has multiple problems. Do you know how many people know that in the union budget of a particular year, the largest allocation of funds goes to the defense ministry? 13% on an average goes to the defense ministry. But we always want more. Everybody wants more. There's no doubt about it. But you have to also balance it with the social security. You also balance it with other social sectors, all that. Yes, we can do with more. We can't say that there will be no wars, which I agree with him, that the wars are coming and therefore we have to be prepared. So there are ways of doing it. So what the government has done is that, okay, we'll go the indigenous way because they cost less, you have more control over it. Earlier, before 2014, the ammunition was not being allowed to be manufactured in the private sector. We were always dependent on Russia, Czechoslovakia, Ukraine for ammunition. At least today now you have built capacities in private sector where they can manufacture ammunition, which is a great enhancement in your capability. Because you might have guns, you might have artillery guns and tanks, but if you don't have ammunition, and which during the crunch can be switched off by your foreign suppliers,
right, yeah.
foreign suppliers, then you are done with. Therefore, the government is thinking strategically, it is doing things. It has failed on some of the issues or gone slow on some of the issues, agreed. But you can never, I can never understand the complexities of the government because there are various pulls and pressures the governments have to go through. So one has to be realistic, one has to be pragmatic about it. Yes, the speed of acquisition, as I call it in defense ministry, should be speeded up. It should be cranked up, actually, not even speeded up, but it should be cranked up. And that, I think, has been said by multiple people, including me. And I am sure the government is looking at it. But yes, General Bakshi is a very emotional man and Certainly because he has been a soldier, he's participated in wars, he's seen counterinsurgency, so he has a right to be passionate about it.
I don't know, sir. I'm all of 29. It's a very ripe age to be molded into something, right? And I also understand my sense of passion. I am a very passionate man. Like that resonates with me.
Yes.
But I am also not convinced that this is the time for passion.
Exactly.
I am also of the opinion that calmer voices should prevail. We must do something
Like I've
proportionate,
said,
appropriate. That cannot be taken.
Yes.
But we have to be strategic. It's a chess move at this point.
Yes.
It's
Agreed.
not a game of knife. It's a chess move, and we have to be
Absolutely.
very careful.
And also be, you sort of plan your moves ahead. You look at all the aspects. It cannot be, many people think it's a movie. That you've done this, so you go and do that. It doesn't happen that way. You take into account multiple factors, how the reaction will be, how the world will react, how your economy will absorb any shock that might happen, external shock, if this escalates, if this goes out of control. All that has to be taken into consideration. So I don't envy the Prime Minister of India, anybody.
Nobody, right. It's a very tough job to be in right now.
Anyone who becomes the Prime Minister of India is not a easy job.
Yeah.
So I don't envy that job, and I'll never like to do that job.
it's too taxing. I do understand what you're saying. I also think, as citizens, as somebody now who has a platform where sufficient people watch him, I want to make this point very clear. I think India should spend a lot of time building its manufacturing capabilities, because if war is coming, everything from the tarmac on which your trucks will roll, to the trucks themselves, to the ammunition it will carry, to supply chains it needs, to have a fully modernized military that is capable of fighting any war. And I want to ask the question about war as well. We need in-house development. We need weapons. We need all of this. We need chains, we need axles, we need screws, and all of that needs to happen in-house. I feel like that is not just in the edge case of a war, but foundationally for an economy. Manufacturing is the backbone.
It is.
And you cannot live on a convenience service economy forever. It's great for profit generation and employment generation, and nobody's taking the social benefit of that out of the equation. But I think as far as the fundamental spine of an economy surrounded by hostile nations, in moving towards a multipolar world that has never been the case for the last 40 years, we need to emphasize on manufacturing. I don't think we can survive it without that. But why do you think war is coming, and why does he think war is coming?
No, in the sense, what happens is you have two hostile neighbors, and the war. See, again, what we think about war is always the conventional war. Tanks firing and artillery guns firing. If you ask me, China has already launched a war against India. Now, what is that war? It is a war of narratives. Cognitive warfare has been launched already, because there are enough takers in India which will peddle Chinese propaganda, Chinese point of view. They will also try and keep India down. You spoke about manufacturing. But they will see to it that India does not get enough raw material, enough critical elements into your manufacturing. Some of the machinery that they used to supply, they will try and scuttle them. So that war, economic war, cognitive war, narrative war is already on. And today there is no definite end or start point of a war. What war we think of a kinetic war, is the ultimate step in a long drawn out escalatory ladder.
Right. I think primitives fought war eyeball to eyeball. And then we started doing economic war with tariffs and trades and this and that policy. And then we started doing cyber war, which information I can use to capture your imagination and convert you to my side. So I already have you won. By the time I'm walking through the gates, the citizens have already surrendered. And so there are all these layers to it. And in the very center, the last resort is gunpowder.
Absolutely.
Right? The last resort is missiles and bombs and all of that. And so you're saying China has already begun that part of the whole equation. Exactly. And I think it's very obvious, because the way they treat us as Security Council, UN also, they try to sideline us.
So they always do that. So one has to educate, inform our own citizens of this. And that is what has began, what is gradually happening, like I mentioned in the previous podcast, which is now defunct, like you said, that the mindset amongst the citizens has changed. they now feel like participating in the discourse on
National
wars,
security,
on
yeah.
national security. Not earlier. Earlier, we were overly obsessed with Pakistan. And I mean, if you had broadcast that maybe day before, and then this had happened, Pahalgam, it would be egg on my face, where
Yes.
I said Pakistan is of no consequence.
Right.
I continue to maintain that. But Pakistan is a nuisance which we have to live with. We cannot choose our neighbors.
No.
Geography cannot be changed.
Right.
But the neighbors' behavior can be changed with your actions. And that's what India needs to do.
And I do not see that it would be a friendly future. It would probably still be arm's length, but we would slowly incapacitate them. That would be the outcome.
There is nothing larger punishment or bigger punishment than ignoring somebody.
Yeah.
Like in human relationship, is something similar in international relationship.
I think Article 370 and its abrogation was the symbolic final step of ignoring.
Absolutely.
Now we don't even care about
Exactly.
you. And that would irk them. I can completely see it.
Yeah.
You've taken their central thesis out of their equations. And
That's right.
I do understand. Guys, if you're interested in more content like this where it actually makes you think and explore how you think inside your head, dude, subscribe, man.